Welcome to Melanated and Spiritually Woke. I'm your host, Adorable Earth Angel. I'm a holistic wellness educator of 12 years with a master's in public health, energy healing of 7 years, and have been a Black female spiritual alchemist my whole life. Each week, we'll be sharing uplifting, spiritually focused wellness practices to best support you in regaining your personal power, or we'll have special guest interviews with the same intention. This show is in service to all those listening, and especially for folks of color who are seeking information to support their physical, mental, and emotional spiritual awakening. These practices will help you live your best life. Hey. Welcome back to Melanated and Spiritually Woke. Thank you for joining us this week. We are in this beautiful moment as we enter into the third week of October. We're looking at the week of the 23rd to the 30th. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about the aspects, the energies, the spiritual influences. And we're going to be receiving messages that are hopefully of the greatest benefit to yourself. Messages that are uplifting, that are adding and enriching. And that offers a perspective on any challenges you may be experiencing right now. The show is of inspiration many years ago. My wanting to create a platform and an opportunity to hear a specific voice, to hear a voice that is connected to melanated skin. And so as we riff, you and I, on this radio show today, recognizing that all that are listening are part of co-creating the energies that are flowing through me and back to you, and that no matter where you are in your day or in your life, that this message has a resonance, has a frequency, whether you're listening to this on Wednesday or listening to it years from now, months from now, that there's a message here, there's a nugget of truth, a kernel here for you. And so the energies that we're in right now, you know, I use a lot of astrology in this show these days. I feel the accuracy and the importance of astrology. Right now we're in this flow of the sun coming into the very last degrees of Libra. And whenever there's a shifting into the later degrees of the sun, it starts to shift our focus and our energy. And so we've been in this theme of Libra, which is this energy of how do we create balance? How do we create harmony? How do we create a sense of balance and peace? And what are we willing to do in order to keep the peace? And also, what are we willing no longer to do to keep the peace? The sun right now is in the later degrees of Libra, and it's opposing Neptune. Neptune is this beautiful, dreamy, creative energy. It's in Pisces. And so there's a lot around what we're seeing, like the harmony, the opposition of like the energy of harmony is illuminated by the sun, opposing the illusion. And with the illusion being opposed, there's actually more visibility around those tensions. I mean, we're seeing it in the greater landscape, but specifically what I want to talk about is as it relates to our personal relationships, because Libra is the energy of our personal relationships. And so there's a pause, there's a bit of tension. When we have an opposition in the sky, that means that a theme for this week that we may be feeling is the tension between the harmony that we're wanting to keep in our partnerships and connections with kind of like the revealing of illusion. There's a revealing of an illusion. Something that we thought was pristine and something that we could probably put our energy towards. And then within that, actually seeing that there's a bit of just the energy of it not being quite fully formed. And so recognizing right now when it comes to opportunity, financial opportunity, because Libra also represents our prosperity and money. So when it comes to financial opportunity, when it comes to relationships and connections, there might have the illusion of potentiality, but there is this energetic of disillusionment. And so what's the best way to move forward for this week? I'm being told like there's this energy of just allowing things to let things relax. The higher frequency of the energy of Neptune is that of like a spiritual mastery. And the best way to get out of illusion, like what I'm being shown is like possibly life being like a snow globe. I know we're in the middle of September and I'm talking about snow, but life being a snow globe. Did I just say September? October. My bad. We're in October, not September. I'm still in September, but we're in October. But I'm already thinking about the snow globe that I'm seeing. And it's like, imagine that on a specific subject, all of these pieces are moving around. But it's not a snow globe that got vigorously shook. It's a snow globe that's swirling slowly around. So it's very slow swirling. And so you may see this kind of like a slow swirling energy, but it's not, none of the particles have settled for there to be a clear image. And that's the perfect metaphor for this week. It's not a week that's going to be super jarring, but it has the week to have this potential of there being a lot of little tiny particles. It's like a little email. I'm seeing like, you may be seeing like a little email here, a little communication there. It's just little particles, little opportunities, but nothing that kind of creates that settled energy of seeing exactly what's going on. And part of it, we have this square to Capricorn and Pluto in Saturn. And so there's this further kind of square that also speaks to whenever there's a square, there's a need to adjust, there's a need to move around, and there's a need to investigate. Pluto is the energy of investigating, and Capricorn is the energy of taking responsibility. And I'm also seeing more than that, like Capricorn squaring the sun is, what are you willing to kind of really ground into? Here it is. So right now there's a thread spiritually for all of us. And the thread is saying to me, does this next step that you're taking right now in life, does it make sense? Because Neptune energy will give you all these things swirling around you and you're like, oh, look at all these opportunities. But I think I've spoke to this energy of like a mirage effect. There could be a bit of a mirage where there's something that's coming into fruition on a spiritual level, but it's not yet actually ready to be manifested in a tangible level. So you having this thought like, I really want to manifest this new thing. And yet it's still this swirl. It's still in this swirl. It's not quite yet ready to be in a place of being connected with in a real way. And so just that need to allow the swirl of the snow globe to settle. And as it's doing that, something that's going to help you feel even more settled is this square. Squares haven't really historically in astrology been that positive, but I would say what the square does is it asks you, what have you been doing recently? So if I'm talking to people out there who are talking about if we're talking about people out there who are listening to the show around their career, their livelihood, what have you done in the past to make money? And if new like little particles, little emails, little communications, inspirations that are coming through from God, if they're popping up, are the things that are coming up the things that you can potentially do they have any connections to what you've done? Any connections to what you've built already? And if so, that in itself can create a bit of an anchoring in this moment. It can just anchor. It can anchor something. And if the opportunities that are coming up have even just a bit of recognition, then that's great. And if I'm talking to people who are in a place around when it comes to their love life, and they're seeing these little particles, these energies, potentials of meeting new people, or if you're in an established relationship, of there being a new level, getting married, or there just being another level of commitment, or another layer, or maybe having a baby, or just like, have you seen evidence, right? Capricorn and even Pluto, like, have you seen evidence that you're ready for this level of transformation? Because Neptune, again, is going to create a sense of disillusionment. And the sun is opposing that disillusionment, saying this is not the direction that's going to win. The sun generally is always going to be this bigger energy, because it's the sun. It's the biggest energy that we work with. It's huge. And as it opposes that energy, the sun's going to win. And the sun is in Libra. It's in the last degrees. And it's already starting to transition towards Pluto. Transition towards Scorpio season. I said Pluto because Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. So my brain went to that. So we're going to be going from Libra to Scorpio. And so we have these last little bits of energy that's in Libra, the last degrees, and it's us preparing for a transformation, and recognizing that the transformation can happen in an increment, that there's an opportunity definitely in October and through into November. From now into November, I'm hearing, for deeper transformation, if that's the prayer that you're holding. But actually for right now, we're still in the snow globe that's swirling. It's swirling around us. And the spiritual energy that's really helpful, again, is this anchoring. This kind of anchoring, in where we've come before. Because what might feel a little confusing is the intuition. The intuition might not be completely on board right now, which makes sense. Another thing that we're preparing for is Mercury going retrograde. And as Mercury goes retrograde, what that means is that there's going to be an opportunity for us to go inward with our understanding and our thoughts around what we want to say. And the inward reflection gives us an opportunity to redo, rewrite, rethink a strategy. And the energetics of our thoughts are Scorpio. And Scorpio falls in different places in your chart, but what I'm seeing right now is just this opportunity to revitalize and revive maybe a dead project. So if you have a dead project, it's something that you said you wanted to do, but you never got to it. We're going to be entering, we're already getting to the part where Mercury's in shadow, which means that it's it's slowing down. And as it slows down, then it starts to move retrograde. And then the project, right? So as we start kind of pick our project, it's going to be effortless for you to revive a dead project and bring it back to life, and with new blood in it, and transforming it. This opportunity. And it's an opportunity that you've already started to activate. Mercury retrograde is not really a time for you to do anything new. Like things that are just completely brand new. Because it's like these new thoughts and ideas, the energies just aren't in alignment with it. It's also not a time to really sign contracts, there might be things in the contract that need to be renegotiated. Communication, technology, things can get a little bit wonky. So just giving yourself time this week to start to prepare any documents that you need to get dealt with, deal with them, and and create an opportunity for you to have that done and finished. Now, I'm really feeling called to speak to this theme of going into Scorpio energy. I know this energy really well because I have Scorpio in my chart really pronounced. I have Scorpio as one of my major astrology signs, and so I know this energy, and a lot of people feel really negatively about going into Scorpio energy. And for those of you who aren't really into astrology or don't know much about it, just the promise of transformation. And I want to speak to the energetics of transformation because I know as melanated people, we understand transformation in a completely different way. And there's a spectrum. You know, there's some of us that really do tap in and feel deeply the spiritual and the emotional energy, because that skill set was handed, it's inherited, it's in our being. And we couldn't really explain it to non-melanated people if we tried. Like if you try to sit down with your white friend and explain to them the soulfulness, you know, the real soulful essence of what it means to be black or brown, there's just something that you can't quite articulate. It's an energy. And it's also this energy that makes us really feared. So there's going to be these themes of power that are coming up in November, and us checking in with our power. What are the ways in which we give our power away? How are you giving your power away to other people and things that are not in alignment with what you really want and what you really care about? Because the energy of Scorpio is passionate and is determined. And we could fall into this state of victimhood if not fully owning the vast potential that is our power. And even with the story of being taken and having our resources taken and having our lands stolen, there's within us this energy, this DNA that can never be taken, it can never be stripped. There are things to heal in the DNA, but there are also things that are gifts that are just waiting, like a genie bottle that's just like hidden underneath sand, and it's just waiting to be found. This energy, and it's called, you know, our ancestors. Our ancestors have kind of stored up all this power, and therein lies a bit of a challenge, because it's almost impossible from my lived experience, and I'm not speaking for everyone's lived experience, but it's somewhat impossible for you to not stumble into some trauma as you also go towards the gold that's within inside. A lot of us don't push forth into this golden space because the trauma that's booby trapping the gold that's within us feels like it's too big. It's too much. And we can't see ourselves pushing past that pain. In these times, it's so necessary for us to not feel like we have to be spiritual warriors to the degree that we're putting ourselves in harm's way, and we're really trying to re-traumatizing. So it's like the journey of healing creates the opportunity to hold a bigger energy on this planet. I'm seeing you right now shifting your orientation towards carrying more light in your body. I'm seeing the light open up your frequency, and I just see your back opening up, right? Like my back's even arching as I do this, right? So a big, like a proud chest. And when we sit up straight like this, when we sit up straight with a straight spine, we're allowing ourselves to keep our connection to source energy above us. And so even if it's just a different orientation of the spine, right? Like the spine is this like having like a straight spine means that you are walking in integrity, because you're walking in connection with God, with source. You're in connection with all of the powers of the universe. And there's nothing that can take that away from you. Your ability to be so powerful, so powerfully connected to the universe. And in this orientation, just the level and the vastness of your being. This is the energy that we can play with in November because we have Scorpio energy. We can play every time we go into a new season. We can play with the energies. And it happens, once a year that we get to do that in such a profound way. For a huge part of a month, we can play with an energy. And so I never, my responsibility I've recently changed the title of what I call myself. I used to call myself a healer or a healing artist, and now I'm calling myself a cleanser. Like I cleanse. I'm someone who cleanses people, and I think that that's so cool. Like I spiritually cleanse, and I feel good about that. Like I've never wanted to call myself a healer, but it's the easiest way to tell people what I do. But as a spiritual cleanser, like something that I find that's really important in talking with people is recognizing that we're playing the long game. We're playing the long game. And there's no need to sprint. There's no need to sprint because everything that is for you, you will have in this lifetime. Everything that is for you, you will have in this lifetime. And whenever we feel that bit of despair, like things aren't working out for us, what we're feeling is temporary. And the only thing that can get us through knowing that it's temporary is the recognition of the greater cycles that we live in. We know that when it's cold in the winter, that it's temporary because then it'll get warmer in the spring and hot in the summer. And so a lot of people are like, I'm stuck. And we might have been feeling a lot of stuck energy in our careers and our love lives, with projects, with people, with things we're wanting to change within ourselves, with new behaviors that we're wanting to practice. And there's a season and a reason behind that stuckness, but no one can be stuck forever because it's not natural. It's not a part of natural law. And that's the alchemy, the energy of transformation that's available with the Scorpio energy that we're entering into within the next couple of days, as the sun enters Scorpio within the next 2 days. And we're going to be playing with this energy of getting unstuck. Can the church say amen? Who doesn't want to be unstuck, right? Like, I don't want to be stuck on stuck. And I'm going to be talking more and more these next couple of weeks about light work, which is the energy healing art form that I teach and I practice for myself and on myself, on how to cultivate the energy of moving blockages. There's things that we can do, and honestly, there's things that are just in a greater cycle that are beyond just you. You have to think about your parents' karma and your ancestors' karma, along with your karma at the same time. And so within that, so when all these various aspects of our identity are taken into account, that's when we can start to relax. That's when we can start to shift the energy. That's when we can start to just be in a place of flow, in a state of being like water, and that the obstruction can be released and can be melted away. And the pain that has been held onto can also flow freely and release. Because with our joy, we also can release our pain. And so those are the energies that we're playing with right now, is this swirl, what are you anchoring into right now? We're going to be shifting into that Scorpio energy. And what is the prayer that you're carrying? The prayer that I'm carrying for myself and for everyone is that we know peace. That we know peace, and that we have peace within our power. And that no matter how other people may perceive us as we gain more power, that we don't demonize or negate our power, even if it scares people because they don't want to claim their power. I'm going to repeat that because somebody need to hear that today. We cannot negate our power. We cannot negate our power because as you heal, you will have more power. That is not a question. It is a fact. It is a fact that as you clear your aura, as you clear your vibration, as you raise your frequency, you have more power. And that's the point. And it's not to have power over anyone. It's to be empowered. It's to be able to make decisions, to be able to own your life, a life that we've never been able to own. And there's nothing negative or dark about owning ourselves as melanated people. And never should we feel ashamed about having that be our objective. I know my objective is to liberate and support others in their liberation. I'm never going to feel ashamed for that. And neither should you. And it's just about step by step shining brightly. And no matter who that person looks like that wants to dim your light, it could be even another person of color. But that you have to hold it. And that's a responsibility that can feel really challenging. But that's the energies that are coming through. The energies that we're playing with now astrologically have been very serious. Many of you have felt the weight of them. We're clearing up really deep karma that has to do with an institutional level of, just an institutional level of abuse of power. And within each of us, though, as individuals, as the individual body of a society, we're connected, right? We're connected to the bigger issues that we see swirling around us. In some parts of us, we are oppressor and oppressed. And every time we individually do that work, we actually do influence the world. A lot of us think, I'm not powerful. Who cares about my life? It's like, I care about your life and you are powerful. And if you're listening to this, you're in a different place in the world. You're in a different place in life. And I support and uplift you coming into a spiritual alignment that's big and new and powerful. We're going to continue talking about power and how to own it and how to do it gently. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I don't want anything that I do or say to create pain. But I do want to be honest and be clear that there is a bit of pain that is associated with the journey of cleansing. And on that note, I feel complete for this week. And next week, we're going to pick right back up and talk about the energies. And I'll see what else wants to flow. If it's more astrology or if it's another topic. I'm hoping to bring back some guests on the show. I'm in that swirl with you, y'all. I'm in that snow globe, just letting things settle and letting the truth come to me. So I'm sending you so much love and light, and I hope that this message finds you in a blessed way on your journey. Until next time, I'll see you again, fam. Peace.